What if I told you there are truths about human nature so dark, so unsettling, that most people were never meant to hear them? Truths so raw. They've been buried in history, whispered only in the chambers of kings, emperors, and ruthless rulers. This is not bedtime philosophy. This is not self-help. This is survival. And once you see the world through this lens, you can never go back. The Forbidden Book. In 1513, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a book that shook the foundations of power. The Prince. On the surface, it was a handbook for rulers. But beneath the surface, it was something much darker, a revelation of how humans truly behave when morality is stripped away. For centuries, this book was banned. Leaders read it in secret, hiding it from the public. Why? Because Machiavelli wasn't trying to comfort you. He wasn't trying to inspire you. He was exposing the brutal code that runs beneath every interaction, every relationship, every society. And he was warning you, if you don't understand this code, you will be destroyed by those who do. Think about it. How many times have you trusted someone only to be betrayed? How many times have you believed in fairness, only to watch the ruthless rise while the good are crushed underfoot? You were told that honesty is a virtue. You were told that kindness will be rewarded. But Machiavelli whispers the opposite. Kindness makes you pray. Honesty makes you weak. Fairness gets you killed. Are you starting to feel uncomfortable? Good. That means you're listening. The mask of morality. Machiavelli taught that morality is a mask. People wear it when it serves them, when it makes them appear trustworthy, loyal, or compassionate. But underneath the mask is the real face. Hungry, ambitious, selfish. He wrote, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. And this is the first truth you were never supposed to know. Humans are not driven by virtue. They are driven by survival. Let that sink in. Because once you accept it, you begin to see the world for what it really is. Not a stage of fairness and morality, but a battlefield of deception and strategy. Everyday power games. Maybe you think, this doesn't apply to me. I'm not a king. I'm not in politics. But here's the dark twist. You live in this game every single day. At work, where colleagues smile at you but plot behind closed doors. In relationships, where love becomes a transaction of power and control. In friendships, where loyalty exists only until self-interest demands otherwise. Machiavelli's code is not just for rulers. It is the hidden script of everyday life. And if you don't learn to read it, you are already being written out of the story. The comforting lie versus the brutal truth. Society tells you comforting lies. Be honest, and people will respect you. Be kind, and people will reciprocate. Play fair, and you'll be rewarded. But reality tells a different story. The liars often rise the fastest. The ruthless command obedience. And fairness? Fairness is a story told to the weak, so they don't rebel against the strong. This is Machiavelli's second forbidden truth. If you want power, you must abandon the illusion of morality, at least in practice. Do you feel that shift inside you? That small crack in your worldview? That's the beginning of awakening. And awakening is always painful. Ask yourself right now, if you knew that everyone around you, your boss, your partner, your best friend, was secretly acting out of self-interest, would you still trust them? Or would you start to question every smile, every promise, every word? That doubt you feel creeping in? That's not paranoia. That's clarity. And once it takes hold, the world will never look the same again. The shadow of fear and love. One of Machiavelli's most famous lessons is this. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is fragile. It fades, it shifts, it can be broken by circumstance. But fear holds, fear controls, fear lasts. Even in your own life, you've seen it. Think of the teacher you obeyed because you respected them, and now barely remember. Now think of the one you obeyed because you feared them, and how their presence is burned into your memory. Machiavelli's third forbidden truth is this. Love inspires loyalty only until something better comes along. Fear chains loyalty to survival. And in a world built on survival, which do you think lasts longer? Now, let's make this personal. Look into your own relationships, your own workplace, Your own family. Who truly respects you? Who actually fears disappointing you? And more importantly, which one matters more? The answer might disturb you, because if your influence relies only on love, you are vulnerable. If it rests on fear, you are untouchable. This isn't a moral lesson. It's a survival code. The game you're already in, right now, whether you realize it or not, you are playing Machiavelli's game. Every handshake, every promise, every deal, every relationship, they all carry hidden power dynamics. You don't get to choose whether you play. The only choice you have is this: play blind or play with your eyes wide open. And Machiavelli's warning is clear. The blind get devoured. The aware survive. So now the mask has slipped. You've seen the first cracks in the illusion. Morality is a tool, not a truth. Love is fragile. Fear is enduring. And survival, not virtue, drives the human heart. The question is, what comes next? If this is the code beneath the surface, how do you use it? How do you stop being prey and start becoming the predator? In the next part, we step deeper into Machiavelli's mind. We'll decode the mechanics of power, not the surface-level games, but the rules rulers, manipulators, and survivors have used for centuries. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you know it, you can never go back. Part 2. Are you ready to hear it? Because once you do, you'll never look at power the same way again. The nature of power. Machiavelli begins with a simple, brutal premise. Power is the only true currency of survival. Money comes and goes. Love fades. Morality bends. But power, the ability to shape outcomes, control others, and bend reality to your will, endures. Think about it. A poor man with power can still command armies. A rich man with no power can be ruined overnight. Power decides. Power dictates. Power rewrites the rules. This is the first pillar of Machiavelli's code. Everything revolves around power. How you gain it, how you keep it, and how you wield it. Ask yourself, how many times in your life have you felt powerless? That helpless ache in your stomach when someone else had the final say? That moment when no matter what you did, the outcome was not in your hands? That feeling, that is what Machiavelli wants you to escape. Because powerlessness is death, and power is survival. The appearance of virtue versus the reality of power. Machiavelli was not naive. He knew that ruling with open cruelty could ignite rebellion. So he gave a chilling piece of advice. It is not necessary to be virtuous. It is only necessary to appear virtuous. Think about that. You don't have to actually be kind. You only have to look kind. You don't have to be moral. You only have to project morality. People believe what they see. And most people never look deeper. This is why politicians kiss babies on stage while signing ruthless laws in backroom. It's why leaders preach morality while practicing corruption. It's why your boss smiles at you while cutting your future behind closed doors. Machiavelli's lesson. The masses cling to appearances. The wise exploit this weakness. Now turn the mirror on yourself. In your own life, do you cling to appearances? Do you believe someone is loyal just because they seem loyal? Do you believe someone is kind just because they act kind? If so, you are prey. And Machiavelli would tell you, start questioning what you see, because reality is rarely what it looks like. Love versus fear, the ultimate dilemma. We touched on it before, but here's where Machiavelli sharpens the blade. If a ruler cannot be both feared and loved, he wrote, it is safer to be feared. Why? Because love is conditional. It depends on constant effort, constant reciprocity. But fear is primal. It's etched into the nervous system. It doesn't fade. Fear ensures obedience even in absence. Love ensures obedience only in presence. And here lies the cruel truth. Those who rely on love are always vulnerable. Those who cultivate fear become untouchable. Think back to a time you obeyed out of love. Did it last? Did your loyalty hold when things changed? Now think of the time you obeyed out of fear. Do you still remember the chill it left in your body? Love fades into memory. Fear burns into bone. And Machiavelli knew this. The ruler who inspires fear will never be forgotten. One of Machiavelli's most shocking ideas was about cruelty. He didn't say never be cruel. He said, Be cruel strategically. A leader should deliver cruelty swiftly, decisively, and rarely. Why? Because constant cruelty breeds rebellion, but controlled cruelty breeds respect, fear, and stability. This is why empires lasted not by kindness, but by decisive displays of ruthlessness. A single execution can silence 1,000 whispers. A single punishment can cement obedience for decades. The lesson? If you must harm, harm once, and make it unforgettable. In your own life, cruelty might not mean executions. It might mean ending a toxic relationship with cold finality. It might mean firing someone who undermines you and making an example of them. It might mean drawing a boundary so sharp that no one ever dares to cross again. Ask yourself, were you being too kind? Where should you instead be decisive? Because mercy in the wrong hands is a weapon against you. Machiavelli also warned, loyalty is an illusion. People are loyal only as long as it serves their interest. Change the conditions and loyalty vanishes. This is why rulers, he argued, should rely less on promises and more on control. Bribes, rewards, threats, and consequences bind people tighter than any oath of loyalty ever could. It sounds cold, but look around. Employees leave jobs when a better offer arrives. Lovers walk away when they find someone more desirable. Friends disappear when your struggles weigh more than your benefits. Loyalty without leverage is an illusion. And illusions, Machiavelli reminds us, are for the weak. Think carefully. Who in your life would still stand by you if you had nothing to offer? Who is loyal to you or to the benefits they receive from you? It's a disturbing question. But if you don't ask it now, life will answer for you later. Machiavelli also spoke of fortune, the unpredictable chaos of life. Some call it fate. Others call it luck. But Machiavelli taught this. You cannot control fortune, but you can control how prepared you are when it strikes. He compared fortune to a river. Calm one moment, flooding the next. The wise build dams, channels, and barriers, not to stop the river, but to guide it. This is his lesson for you. Don't waste time praying fortune will spare you. Prepare so fortune can never destroy you. Ask yourself, if tomorrow everything collapsed, your job, your security, your relationships, are you prepared? Or are you relying on fortune to stay calm forever? Because fortune is not your friend. It is a storm waiting at the horizon. And Machiavelli would tell you, build your walls now. The core warning of Machiavelli's lens. Summarizing his brutal vision of power. Power is the only true currency. Appearances matter more than reality. Fear is stronger than love. Cruelty, when decisive, breeds stability. Loyalty is fragile without leverage. Fortune cannot be controlled, only prepared for. This is the world as Machiavelli saw it. Stripped of illusions, stripped of morality. Not the world we wish for, but the world that is. Now that you've seen power through Machiavelli's lens, the real question begins. How does this code play out in your life? How do these dark mechanics shape the way people manipulate, dominate, and betray each other every single day? In Part 3, we'll descend deeper into the dark mechanics of human behavior. Not kings, not rulers, not politicians, but the ordinary people around you, your co-workers, your friends, your partner, even you. This is where Machiavelli's code becomes personal. This is where you realize the game isn't out there. It's happening right now inside your life. Part 3. Machiavelli taught that appearances are more powerful than reality. Now think about how this plays out in your own relationships. How many times have you trusted someone because of how they appeared? They smiled at you. They said the right words. They acted kind. But behind the mask, their intentions were darker. The truth is, everyone wears a mask. Some wear it to protect themselves. Others wear it to control you. Machiavelli's lesson: never assume the mask is the face. Remember the last time someone betrayed you? That sting in your chest when you realized the person you trusted was playing their own game? That's Machiavelli's world unfolding right in front of you. And the more you ignore it, the more it hurts. Fear and respect in social circles. Machiavelli wrote, "It is safer to be feared than loved." Now, translate that into everyday life. At work, who gets the most respect? Is it the nice co-worker who always bends over backward? Or is it the strict, unshakable one who demands results and refuses to be walked on? In your friend group, who sets the tone? The overly agreeable person desperate for approval? Or the one who carries an aura of authority that no one dares to challenge? Fear doesn't always mean terror. Sometimes it means respect. Sometimes it means boundaries so strong they cannot be crossed. So ask yourself right now, do people in your life love you because you're convenient? Or do they respect you enough to never test your limits? If you're only loved, you're vulnerable. If you're respected, even feared, you're untouchable. Cruelty doesn't always mean violence. In Machiavelli's sense, cruelty means decisive action. Think of relationships. Someone mistreats you, and instead of cutting them off, you give them one more chance. And another, and another. What does that do? It tells them you are weak. It tells them they can cross you without consequence. Now imagine the opposite. You end the relationship after the first betrayal. Cold, decisive, final. That person never forgets it. And no one else dares to test you the same way again. That's strategic cruelty. Who in your life are you letting disrespect you because you're afraid of being cruel? Who is testing your boundaries and succeeding because you hesitate to draw the line? Machiavelli would tell you, mercy in the wrong hands is nothing but weakness. The fragility of loyalty. In friendships, in families, in workplaces, loyalty is always conditional. It lasts only as long as it serves the other person. Your co-worker is loyal until they get promotion offer elsewhere. Your friend is loyal until being seen with you costs them status. Your partner is loyal until someone more exciting appears. Machiavelli warns, never rely on loyalty without leverage. That doesn't mean you can't trust people, but it means you must build relationships on power and respect, not just promises and feelings. Ask yourself, if tomorrow you had nothing to offer, no money, no status, no influence, who would still stand by you? If you can't answer that with certainty, then maybe you already know the truth. Everyday fortune, chaos in your life. Machiavelli's metaphor of fortune as a raging river applies just as much today. You lose your job unexpectedly. A loved one leaves you. An accident changes your life in a single night. Most people crumble when fortune strikes because they never prepared, because they thought the calm river would stay calm forever. But those who build internal strength, financial security, and emotional resilience, they may get hit by the flood, but they don't drown. If tomorrow your life collapsed, your income, your relationships, your safety net, would you survive? Or are you secretly hoping life stays calm forever? Because Machiavelli's warning is clear. The storm is coming, and only the prepared will stand. The silent game in everyday interactions. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every relationship is a power dynamic. Every interaction has a hidden script. Who dominates, who submits, who controls the frame. Think about it. Who interrupts more in your conversations? Who always gets the last word? Who controls the mood of the room when they walk in? These are not accidents. These are battles of subtle power. Machiavelli knew this. The game is always being played. And the only question is, are you playing it? Or are you being played? Right now. In your own life, are you the one steering the ship? Or are you letting others dictate your course? Are you the manipulator or the manipulated? Because neutrality doesn't exist. If you're not shaping reality, someone else is shaping it for you. Why this feels so dark and why it's true. Hearing these truths is uncomfortable because we want to believe in loyalty, in kindness, in fairness. And yes, those things exist, but rarely without condition. Machiavelli doesn't tell us to abandon morality. He tells us to strip away the illusion, to see the game as it really is, because only then can you choose how to play it. Now you've seen Machiavelli's code alive in your own relationships, your friendships, and your everyday world. But we're still only scratching the surface. Part 4. We've seen how Machiavelli's dark code plays out in power, politics, and everyday life. But now we need to go deeper. Because behind every move of domination, there is a tactic. Behind every betrayal, there is a method. Behind every manipulation, there is a psychology. And here's the uncomfortable truth. These tactics aren't just used by rulers and tyrants. They're used by the people closest to you. Your friends, your co-workers, your family, even your partner. The game is not abstract. It's personal. And it's happening to you right now. Every interaction begins with a frame, an invisible boundary that defines who holds control. For example, if someone asks you, "Why are you always late?" they've already framed you as guilty. If you rush to defend yourself, you've already lost. But if you reply with, "What makes you think I'm late?" you shift the frame. You put the burden back on them. Machiavelli would say, "He who controls the frame controls the reality." Think about the last argument you had. Did you defend yourself inside someone else's frame? Or did you rewrite the rules mid-conversation? If you didn't, you weren't just arguing. You were already defeated. The tactic of silence. Machiavelli warned rulers not to reveal too much, because the more you speak, the more you expose yourself. Silence is power. It unnerves. It forces others to fill the void with their own anxieties. In negotiations, silence makes the other person doubt themselves. In arguments, silence forces the other side to over-explain. In relationships, silence creates mystery, which is often more powerful than answers. The lesson: say less, control more. Remember the last time someone went silent on you? How it gnawed at you, replayed in your head, made you restless. That's the power of silence. Now ask yourself, why do you waste so many words when silence would do the job better? The tactic of scarcity. Machiavelli taught that people crave what they cannot easily have. The more available something is, the less it's valued. Think of attention. If you give yours too freely, it loses value. But when you withhold it, people chase it. Scarcity is why luxury brands thrive. Scarcity is why the forbidden is irresistible. Scarcity is why the unavailable person is always more desired than the one who begs for attention. Control scarcity and you control desire. Be honest. Are you giving yourself away too cheaply? Are you always available, always responding, always showing up, and wondering why you're overlooked? If so, Machiavelli would tell you, pull back, become scarce. Because value grows in absence, not presence. The tactic of fear of loss. Humans are wired to fear losing something more than they value gaining something new. Psychologists call this loss aversion. Machiavelli called it leverage. A ruler who can threaten loss, of land, of wealth, of safety, holds more control than one who offers gifts. Because fear burns deeper than gratitude. In your life, the same applies. People are more afraid of losing your respect, your attention, your approval, than they are grateful to have it. The wise know how to make others fear losing them. Do the people in your life fear losing you? Or are they convinced you'll always be there no matter how they treat you? Because if they don't fear losing you, they don't truly value you. The tactic of divide and rule. Machiavelli warned rulers never to let enemies unite. Instead, keep them divided, distracted, and suspicious of each other. In the modern world, you see this everywhere. Workplace leaders who pit employees against each other, so they never unite against the boss. Politicians who split nations into factions, so no one challenges the elite. Even friends who stir subtle conflicts to keep the group revolving around them. Divide the group. Control the outcome. Think about your circle. Who is subtly sowing seeds of division? Who benefits when you and someone else are in conflict? If you don't spot it, you're not just a pawn. You're their pawn. The tactic of reputation. Machiavelli said, a prince must avoid being hated and despised at all costs. Why? Because reputation can be more powerful than armies. In today's world, reputation is currency. It decides promotions, opportunities, and trust long before your actual abilities are considered. People protect reputations fiercely and destroy others strategically. One rumor, one whisper, one subtle narrative shift can ruin someone. Machiavelli's lesson: guard your reputation like treasure and learn how to weaponize it. Whispers spread faster than truth. Perception matters more than reality. And once your reputation is tainted, it rarely recovers. So ask yourself, are you building your reputation or leaving it unguarded for someone else to destroy? The tactic of timing. Finally, Machiavelli emphasized timing. Power is not just about what you do, but when you do it. Strike too early and you seem reckless. Strike too late and you seem weak. But strike at the exact moment of opportunity and you appear unstoppable. Timing turns cruelty into justice. Timing turns ambition into destiny. Timing turns accidents into strategy. The wise wait. The foolish rush. How many times in your life did you fail? Not because of what you did, but because of when you did it. The wrong move at the wrong time destroys kings, armies, businesses, and relationships alike. The dark truth? Patience is often more powerful than force. The invisible strings around you. The most disturbing part of all these tactics? You're not just capable of using them. They're already being used against you. That person who went silent, making you chase them, they were playing the silence game. That boss who made you fear losing your position more than you valued the paycheck, they were using loss aversion. That friend who divided your group with subtle rumors, divide and rule. That partner who made themselves scarce, only to become more desirable, scarcity. You are already in the web. The only choice you have now is, do you remain the puppet, or do you learn how to cut the strings? Part 5. You've seen the masks. You've seen the tactics. You've seen how the game unfolds around you every single day. But now comes a moment of truth, because knowing the game is not enough. Machiavelli's warning is clear. If you don't learn how to use the code will be used against you. So in this part, we shift from observation to action, from knowledge to strategy, from victim to player. Step 1, master the art of perception. The first application of Machiavelli's code is controlling how others see you. Remember, it's not necessary to be virtuous. It's only necessary to appear virtuous. That means you don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be intentional about how others perceive you. At work, speak with calm authority, even if you doubt yourself inside. In relationships, show boundaries, even if you're afraid of being abandoned. In social settings, project composure. Even when chaos swirls inside you, control the image, control the narrative. Because most people never look past the surface. Right now, ask yourself, are you in control of how people see you? Or are you letting them define you? If you're not shaping perception, you're surrendering it. Step 2, cultivate respect through boundaries. Love fades. Fear, or at least respect, endures. In practice, this means setting boundaries so clear that others instinctively know what a line is. Stop tolerating endless apologies. Stop giving infinite chances. Stop rewarding bad behavior with patience. One decisive boundary draws more respect than 1,000 weak warnings. Think of the last person who crossed your boundaries. Did you cut them off? Or did you let it slide? Because every time you let it slide, you teach the world how to disrespect you. Step 3, use strategic silence. Silence is not emptiness. It's power. When negotiating, pause instead of rushing to fill the air. When accused, don't defend, let silence make the other side squirm. When tempted to overshare, remember that mystery creates respect. Machiavelli would tell you, the less you reveal, the harder it is for anyone to use you. Every word you speak gives someone data, and every piece of data can be weaponized against you. So why give them the ammunition? Step 4, build leverage, not dependence. Machiavelli said loyalty without leverage is an illusion. So if you want people to respect and stay loyal, give them a reason not to leave. This doesn't mean manipulation. It means becoming so valuable, so skilled, so rare, so necessary, that losing you costs more than keeping you. At work, become the person who solves the hardest problems. In relationships, bring depth, strength, and independence that others fear losing. In life, develop skills, resources, and connections that make you indispensable. Dependency makes you weak. Leverage makes you powerful. If everyone in your life could walk away tomorrow without consequence, would they? If the answer terrifies you, it means you have no leverage. Step 5, prepare for fortune storms. Machiavelli compared fortune to a river, calm one day, flooding the next. Most people live like the calm will last forever. And when the storm comes, they drown. Preparation is power. Save money before you need it. Train your mind before the crisis. Build resilience before the collapse. Because fortune doesn't warn you before it strikes. It simply destroys the unprepared. The flood is coming. Maybe tomorrow, maybe years from now. But when it does, you'll either stand firm or be swept away. The choice is being made right now, in the silence before the storm. Step 6. Use timing like a weapon. Rashness destroys kings. Hesitation destroys opportunities. The Machiavellian approach is patience sharpened into precision. Wait, watch, and when the moment arrives, strike with such decisiveness that no one forgets it. This could mean waiting for the right moment to negotiate a raise, the right moment to confront betrayal, the right moment to make a life-changing move. Timing turns ordinary actions into legendary ones. How many opportunities have you lost because you moved too fast or too slow? How much power slipped through your fingers because you didn't master patience? Machiavelli's answer: timing is everything. Step 7. Weaponize reputation. Reputation is the shadow that walks ahead of you. It opens doors or slams them shut. Build it carefully. Defend it fiercely. And when needed, use it ruthlessly. Because a strong reputation can protect you from attacks you never even see. And a ruined reputation can destroy you before you even act. Right now, what do people whisper about you when you're not in the room? That whisper is your true reputation. And Machiavelli would tell you, if you don't control it, someone else will. Here's the core of applying Machiavelli's code. It's not about becoming a tyrant. It's about becoming unshakable. The inner prince is a part of you that refuses to be naive, refuses to be weak, refuses to be manipulated. It's the part of you that sees through appearances, prepares for storms, and acts with precision. Most people live blind. But once you awaken the inner prince, you don't just survive the game. You play it. You master it. Now you know how to apply the code: perception, boundaries, silence, leverage, preparation, timing, and reputation. But here's the final layer of Machiavelli's warning. Power is never free. Every choice you make has a cost. And if you embrace the dark code, you must also embrace the price that comes with it. In part 6, we'll confront the consequences, the toll power takes on the soul, and the ultimate warning Machiavelli left behind, because the game has winners, but it also has casualties. Part 6. Every game has a cost. Every victory has a shadow. And in Machiavelli's world, the price of power is never paid in gold. It's paid in blood, in loyalty, in trust, and in your own peace of mind. You can play the game of power. You can even master it. But here's the warning Machiavelli whispered across the centuries. The more you win, the more you lose. Because the crown is heavier than it looks. And no one tells you what it does to the soul. The loneliness of power. Machiavelli knew that leaders walk alone. Not because they want to, but because they must. To be feared more than loved means you will never truly be loved. People follow you for advantage, not affection. They smile because they must, not because they care. And the higher you climb, the fewer people you can trust. Everyone becomes a potential betrayer. Every hand you shake could be the one that holds a knife. Think of your own life. The more you stand apart, the more people depend on you. Doesn't feel lonelier? This is a tax of power. Admiration from afar. Isolation up close. The corrosion of conscience. To hold power, you will betray. You will lie. You will manipulate. You will choose the useful over the good. Machiavelli didn't flinch from this truth. He said a ruler must be willing to act against charity, against honesty, against kindness, if survival demands it. But what happens when the mask doesn't come off? When strategy replaces sincerity? When calculation eats away at compassion until you can't tell where the game ends and you begin? That's the corrosion. Not one great act of evil, but 1,000 tiny compromises that hollow you out over time. Ask yourself, how many times have you already bent your morals to survive? How many times have you already done what was useful instead of what was right? That's the beginning of the Machiavellian slide. The burden of vigilance. Power doesn't end paranoia. It demands it. Every ally could shift. Every subordinate could turn. Every victory plants the seed of someone else's revenge. The prince, the powerful one, never sleeps deeply. He wakes at every sound. He plans 3 moves ahead. He can never truly rest, because the game doesn't stop when you win. Victory simply means more enemies are now watching you. Do you think the people at the top of politics, business, or even your workplace feel safe? They don't. They live in cages of their own making. Cages built from their fear of being dethroned. And this is the truth. The throne is not a chair. It's a prison. The sacrifice of innocence. Here lies the cruelest part of Machiavelli's warning. Once you see the world through his lens, once you understand the manipulation, the masks, the ruthless truths of human nature, you cannot go back. You can't return to innocence. You can't unsee the game. Every smile looks like strategy. Every compliment feels like calculation. Every gesture hides a motive. And even when people are genuine, you doubt them. This is the toll. Clarity without comfort. Knowledge without peace. Do you really want to see people as they are and not as they pretend to be? Do you want to strip away the illusions, even if it means you will never again see the world with innocence? Because once the mask falls, it never goes back up. The legacy of fear. The final price is legacy. A leader who rules with cunning may keep the throne, but what remains when they're gone? Will they be remembered with love or only with fear? Will they leave behind loyalty or just obedience? Fear is powerful, but it doesn't outlive the ruler. Love is weak in the moment, but it endures. And Machiavelli knew this paradox well. The prince who is feared may win the present, but the one who is loved may win eternity. So the question becomes, do you want to win the game for a lifetime or for history? Do you want to be remembered as untouchable or unforgettable? That is the ultimate cost of choosing Machiavelli's way, the choice of the player. Here's the brutal reality. Power demands a price whether you pursue it or not. If you refuse the game, you pay in weakness, manipulation, and subjugation. If you embrace the game, you pay in paranoia, loneliness, and the loss of innocence. There is no path without cost. There is only the path you choose and the price you are willing to bear. Machiavelli's warning is not just about rulers and kings. It's about you, your life, your choices. The game is already around you. The only question left is, will you play or will you be played? You've seen the cost. The toll power takes on your soul, your peace, and your legacy. But here's the final twist of Machiavelli's warning. The code is not just about ruling others. It's about ruling yourself. Because the most dangerous enemy you'll ever face is not outside. It's within. In Part 7, we uncover the last and deepest layer, the inner battlefield. How Machiavelli's wisdom applies not just to society, but to your own mind. Part 7. You think the enemy is outside. You think the real battle is against rivals, betrayers, manipulators, and tyrants. But Machiavelli's warning cuts deeper. The most dangerous battlefield is inside your own mind. Because before you ever face an enemy in the world, you must face the enemy within, the tyranny of illusion. Machiavelli taught that appearances rule the world. But what he didn't say is that appearances also rule you. You convince yourself you're weaker than you are. You imagine enemies where there are none. You see safety where danger lurks. You cling to comfort, thinking it's freedom. Your mind builds illusions, then chains you to them. And most people live their entire lives serving this inner tyrant. How much of your fear is real? And how much is just a mask your mind painted to keep you docile? That's the first prison you must break. The illusions inside you. The enemy called comfort. The second enemy is comfort. Comfort whispers, rest, settle, accept. Don't fight, don't struggle, don't grow. It seduces you with pleasure. It numbs you with ease. But comfort is a slow poison. It doesn't kill you in one strike. It erodes you day by day, until you've lost the strength to resist anything at all. Machiavelli said fortune favors the bold. Comfort makes you timid, and timidity is the death of power. Look around your life right now. Where have you traded growth for comfort? Where have you chosen softness over strength? And what has it cost you? The betrayal of weakness. The third enemy lives in your habits. Every time you procrastinate, you betray yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your own word. Every time you run from pain, you reinforce your own chains. It's not other people's betrayal that destroys most lives. It's self-betrayal. the quiet erosion of willpower until nothing remains. Machiavelli would call this the fatal flaw of the powerless. They never realize the knife is in their own hand. Think of the last time you swore you'd change, and then didn't. That's not weakness. That's betrayal. And betrayal always has consequences. The discipline of the prince within. If you want to rule your world, you must first rule yourself. This is the essence of the inner prince. Discipline over impulse. Strategy over emotion. It means silencing the part of you that wants ease and sharpening the part of you that wants victory. It means acting like a ruler, not over others, but over your own instincts. Because if you can't govern yourself, how can you govern anything else? Right now, are you in control of your mind? Or is your mind in control of you? That is the true Machiavellian test. The power of controlled darkness. Here's the paradox Machiavelli leaves us with. To master the inner battlefield, you cannot reject your darker impulses. You must learn to control them. Anger becomes destruction if unleashed recklessly, but when focused, it becomes fuel. Fear becomes paralysis if you surrender to it, but when harnessed, it becomes awareness, caution, preparation. Selfishness becomes cruelty when unchecked, but when guided, it becomes self-preservation, boundaries, clarity. The weak repress their darkness and pretend it doesn't exist. The powerful acknowledge it, tame it, and turn it into strength. What do you fear most inside yourself? That is not your enemy. That is your weapon if you dare to master it. The reflection in the mirror. Machiavelli's final warning isn't about kings or armies. It's about you, standing in front of a mirror stripped of illusion. Ask yourself, can you endure the loneliness of discipline? Can you stomach the sacrifices of power? Can you control your darker instincts instead of being consumed by them? If the answer is yes, then you are already further ahead than most who will ever live, because they play only the outer game, and they lose. But you see the inner war, and you can win it. This is Machiavelli's final battlefield. Not politics, not strategy, not manipulation, but the war within your own soul. And if you master this battlefield, nothing outside can ever destroy you. But there's one last piece to this code, one last chapter. Because Machiavelli's words were not only a warning, they were a blueprint. In part 8, we tie it all together. The code, the price, the power, the inner war, and we ask the ultimate question. Now that you know the truth, what will you do with it? Part 8. Now you know. You've seen the masks people wear. You've seen the brutality of power. You've seen the price it demands. And you've confronted the battlefield inside your own mind. This is a point of no return, because knowledge like this cannot be forgotten. It cannot be buried. It changes you. And now, you must decide what to do with it. The two paths. Machiavelli never sugarcoated the truth, and neither will I. There are only two paths before you. The path of the blind, the path most people take. They ignore the game. They pretend people are kind by nature. They choose comfort, naivety, and illusions. They are played. The path of the aware, the harder road. You see people as they are, not as they pretend to be. You embrace strategy, boundaries, and discipline. You learn the rules, and you bend them. One path gives you peace, but at the cost of being powerless. The other gives you strength, but at the cost of innocence. Which will you choose? If you turn away now, nothing changes. You go back to life as it was, vulnerable, blind, manipulated. But if you embrace this code, everything changes. You stop being prey. You become player. You become architect. And that is why you were never supposed to know this. The dark code applied. Let's bring it all together. Here's Machiavelli's warning. Distilled into the principles you must live by. Perception is power. Appear virtuous, even if you are not. People believe what they see, not what is true. Boundaries create respect. Draw the line once. Enforce it without hesitation. Silence protects. The less you reveal, the harder it is to be used. Leverage sustains loyalty. Don't depend on promises. Depend on usefulness. Preparation guards against fortune. Build resilience before the storm. Timing is a weapon. Strike neither too soon nor too late. Precision wins wars. Reputation is armor. Build it, defend it, and wield it as your shield. Self-mastery is the crown. The prince within rules over fear, impulse, and weakness. Live by these and you want to survive. You'll dominate. Think about it. How different would your life look if you mastered even one of these principles? Now imagine mastering them all. That is the difference between the played and the player. The shadow of responsibility. But beware, with awareness comes responsibility. You cannot claim ignorance. You cannot pretend you don't see the strings anymore. Every decision you make now carries weight. Because if you know the game and refuse to play, that is still a choice. And it has consequences. Machiavelli's code is not gentle. It forces you to own your life. Completely. No more excuses. No more "I didn't know." From this moment on, you either rule your life or you surrender it. Machiavelli's warning was never meant for the masses. It was meant for the few who dare to see. And if you've made it this far, you are one of those few. The code is not about becoming cruel or ruthless for no reason. It's about becoming untouchable. A mind sharpened by strategy. A heart armored with discipline. A soul unafraid of the truth. This is the transformation. From the naive to the aware. From the follower to the ruler. From the played to the player. Most will never hear this. Most will never dare to look behind the curtain. But you did, and now the world will never look the same. The final warning. Machiavelli's voice echoes across 5 centuries with the same brutal lesson. Power is not given. It is taken. Respect is not begged for. It is enforced. Safety is not found. It is built. And freedom is not granted. It is seized. But every move you make will leave a mark. On others and on yourself. So choose carefully. Because in the game of power, there are no second chances. Right now, you know the code. You know the warning. You know the cost. The question is not can you handle it? The question is will you use it? This was the warning you were never supposed to hear. The truths leaders studied in secret. The wisdom whispered in shadows. Now it's yours. What you do with it is up to you. But remember, those who deny the game are destined to be pawns. Those who see the game may rise to players. And those who master the game, they become untouchable. This is Machiavelli's legacy. This is a dark code. And now it's in your hands. If you're ready to keep walking into the shadows, to learn the hidden truths about power, psychology, and the human mind, subscribe. Because what comes next will take you even deeper into the code.